Hello, America. A lot of troubling things have been going on in our country lately. Sometimes it even feels like it's falling apart. But this 4th of July, I want to take a step back and remember what makes America the greatest country on earth. I'm not saying we don't have flaws, there are many. But overall, I'm convinced that America is fundamentally the best country to lead the modern world into the future. This weekend, a lot of other conservatives will talk about freedom and democracy and sacrifices by past generations, and that's all true and worth being grateful for. But they're not unique to America. About 160 countries out of almost 200 are democracies, many of them with more direct representation. Freedom is such a vague and nonspecific term, it's just become a nationalist buzzword. And every single country has been built by the sacrifices of the generations that came before. So, what specifically makes America uniquely great? I don't think it's any one thing, but a combination of things. The first thing is that we have built the biggest economy with the most opportunity. We're the third largest nation by population, but our economy is bigger than the other top 6 largest countries combined. How did we get there? 1. Immigration. We're one of only a handful of nations that's composed almost entirely of immigrants consciously choosing to come to this country over the last few hundred years. Almost everyone here is a recent descendant from someone who saw an opportunity in a new country halfway around the world and risked everything to go out and build a better life for themselves and their families. That's the pinnacle of the entrepreneurial spirit, the willingness to leave everything you have behind in order to forge a better path through uncharted wilderness. That's in our DNA. That's what our culture was born from. 2. With that cultural foundation, we have amazing resources to turn that spirit into results. Other countries may also be entrepreneurial, but most of them don't have the same strong intellectual property rights and tax incentives to make sure the innovators and executors see their rewards. 3. The world's best universities are in the US, producing state-of-the-art research and providing incredible training and resources to the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs. And finally, America has vast raw natural resources to support new industries and growth. We invented the internet. We put a man on the moon. We built the Panama Canal and the Hoover Dam. We fostered companies like Microsoft and Google that changed the world. No other country comes close to the large-scale applied innovation of the United States. Second, we're one of the few dominant superpowers in history that's generally used its vast economic, political, and military might for the global good. I'm not saying we've always done the right thing with our power. We've allowed ourselves to fall short of our ideals many times. But ever since our rise to global leadership in the early 20th century, we've given hundreds of billions of dollars to other countries for humanitarian aid, infrastructure, peacekeeping, and economic development. We spent massive resources and our own troops combating totalitarianism and communism throughout the world. We use our political influence to advocate for human rights, economic opportunity, and democratic principles. Along with Britain, we founded a worldwide intergovernmental organization dedicated to cooperation and the peaceful resolution of conflicts between nations. Twice, actually. League of Nations was a practice run. Finally, freedom. I know, I said it was a buzzword at the beginning, and I stand by that. So let me expand on this. Freedom isn't uniquely American. Plenty of other developed countries have that too. Generally, you can protest, you can practice whatever religion you want, you have freedom of movement. And I think a lot of the things we consider lack of freedom in other countries are really just different perspectives on whose freedoms you're guaranteeing and for what in different situations where those rights conflict. But there is one freedom that's pretty uniquely American. You can buy a gun. Now, the part that's great about that isn't being able to literally go to a store and come home with a death machine. The great part is that the founding government, our cultural roots, were so suspicious of having too much power that they made sure we had the means to violently topple them if they ever got out of line. It's not just one single interpretation of the word freedom that makes us great. It's not the right to buy guns either. It's the security of the freedoms that we value and the level of importance we place on them. Our freedoms are also secured against outside threats. Nobody will ever successfully invade the United States in the traditional sense, thanks to our many powerful layers of defense. We have our military, including the largest navy in the world, the most advanced satellite network to detect incoming threats, missiles, air defenses, and more. Geographically, we have huge advantages that no other country can replicate. We're surrounded by the world's largest oceans on two sides, a frozen tundra to the north, and desert to the south. Our massive territory would take a huge amount of manpower to occupy, and even if they did, we have the most armed population in the world, making it an insurgency nightmare for any occupying force. There is simply no conventional threat of another country invading and stripping away our freedoms. Do our freedoms still face internal threats? Absolutely. But with at least one mechanism to check our own government and no real threat from another government taking over, I'd say they're going to be a lot more secure and dependable than most. So there you have it. We're far from perfect, but in my opinion, we got a unique combination of things that makes us the greatest country on earth. Our ambitious, entrepreneurial spirit with a long list of achievements to back it up, our values that drive us to use our incredible power and resources to do good, and the freedoms we enjoy, not just for what they are, but for the importance we place on them as a culture and how secure they are from traditional threats. Now, I'm of the opinion that if you can't express why you love someone, that's probably not love, that's infatuation. And if you can't express why you love your country beyond feeling good when you see the flag or hearing buzzwords like freedom and constitution, that's not patriotism, that's nationalism. So let's take this weekend to remember exactly why this country's so great, and use that energy to keep making it even better. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.